Ahoy, ahoy, me gens. Welcome to my channel. Cracking it. Anyway, guys, you're probably here to discover how to survive the hidden depths. Well, today, guys, I'm gonna tell you 10, maybe 5 tips more how to survive the hidden depths. Get started. Alright, gents, let's start off with the basics first. What is this Hidden Depth one? Hidden Depth DLC. Hidden Depth DLC is a DLC that added the ocean biome into Minecraft Dungeons, which consists of dangerous underwater lands, which is basically Coral Rise is the first map which you start off your journey with. Basically telling you some of the unique mechanics which I will explain later on the vlog. Then you get Abyssal Biome, which we'll discuss a little later on, which is the boss arena. And then, okay, spoilers, again, spoilers. This is the boss arena. This is the secret map, which I will explain amongst my tips what it is. So, let's get started on Coral's Rise. Alright, boys. So, while we're loading in, it gives you a little bit of a story. Okay, let's just skip that. Alright, so here's my tips for you for helping you surviving here. Firstly, let's get to the bottom bar. You probably noticed that your bottom bar looks different. It's not like your casual red heart you see. You see a little split blue and white heart. Alright, to explain the basic mechanic. You cannot breathe underwater. Not like any other game, fancy games allow you underwater and breathe. No, you actually need to watch your oxygen. You have a maximum of 100 points of oxygen, which is about 60 seconds of oxygen. But either way, you have this oxygen. Now these little locations where I'm standing on top of are one of your only sources to get oxygen. Now there are other ways to get oxygen back. I will show you along the way as we wander our way through. Now as you can see, as I move through it, so it ticks down. Now as you can see, these are the mobs you will find and encounter. These are drowned. So if you have played Minecraft before, you will know what drowned are. They are underground zombies. Ah, okay, looks like we found our very first item that provides us with oxygen, the tropical fish. Now these will drop randomly from mobs like typical food. You'll get them also from killing normal neutral mobs or passive mobs. They will drop this too. Now let's let our oxygen tick down a little bit to give you guys an idea what happens when your oxygen gets too low. Now you'll see your screen start turning this lightish blue type of color. This will give you an indication that you're drowning. Now, you don't have to panic. You will be fine. You will be fine. You will just start taking slowly tick damage. You don't have to worry. You can survive pretty long depending on how much HP you have. I always have 3 billion since I am 263. I'm a very high power level. Now, you can eat these fish. They'll give you a very minuscule amount of oxygen. But it's best to find these puppies too. Find these little water magma blue magma blocks. Now there are other ways to get oxygen than this. You could open chests. Open chests will give you a bit of oxygen. Now chests are not too rare underneath. There are plenty of chests you can find. There are plenty of mobs you can hunt. Yeah. Ah, okay. Now here comes our next step there. There are ways to get across easily. You could either dash across. Now that's another thing that has changed in the hidden depth. Instead of having your classical roll around like you have on the surface, under here you have a dash. Basically, this. You dash forward. Now this dash could help you get across these weird, awkward chasms. Some of the locations will not have these jumping seashells, and you have to use other methods to get across. Now, as you notice, the skeleton's arrows are slower than usual. They do not, move as fast. Projectiles move slower. As you can see, when I shoot my heart bow, the arrows just drop down to the ground. It basically applies to normal in-game physics. Like normal Minecraft physics. When you shoot an arrow in the water, it just sinks down. Now, you could technically negate this by putting on a good harpoon quiver. And then you get 5 harpoons. So yeah. These basically completely negate the effect. And basically you can have complete shooting him. Now, moving on to the mobs now. Alright, I'm gonna skip a little ahead so we can get to the next area where I can show you guys the next thing. Alright, so here's the other tip I was gonna show you guys. The underwater chest will grant you like the basic, hidden depths items. But you can basically get oxygen too from the chest. I know the logic is not really there, but hey, they give you oxygen. So if you're struggling to find these like magma blocks basically to get your oxygen, you can always do it with the chest. Now, here comes to my another tip. When it comes to some of the neutral mobs you'll find down here. Dolphins. They may sound cute. They may look cute. They may look adorable. But do not attack them. Especially on the more seriously high difficulty. Full of oxygen. They will attack you. They will attack mobs too if they are threatened or attacked. So, if I hit this guy, okay, obviously he dies in an instant because I'm a little overgeared. But as you can see, this dolphin is attacking. Now, if I wasn't wearing any proper gear, this will be doing a lot of damage. They do leave you alone after a bit, but in situations when you're deep in a fight, it's kind of unavoidable to not, off them off, but otherwise, try to not attack. Alright, this is another mob that you can find in the underwater. Yes, if you do kill some of the mobs, they will give you oxygen. These are the tropical slimes. They were technically supposed to be added to Minecraft, but they are in AIM-CD. Now, if you're feeling low on oxygen, and the next fits is a scenario where there's like no oxygen bubbles nearby, and you're drowning, and there's only these guys around. These guys, they will give you oxygen. They do hurt, don't get me wrong, they are like regular slimes, they will hop around and they're pretty slow, so if you want to kite them around or use them as a means of oxygen, you can do that. Apologies for that, my nose is itching now. But yeah, you can kill these guys and they will drop oxygen. Sometimes they will have a challenge to drop fish too. They over drop fish. They'll drop oxygen for you. Now, the other tip I kind of want to share along is that some of the mobs in here are quite dangerous. As you can see, we just saw one of the jungle DLC mobs in here. They are dangerous. I can tell you, they are dangerous. They are hurt. They hurt a lot. Also, I'm pretty sure these oxygen, these don't run oxygen, but they kind of suck. They're supposed to. But yes, otherwise they are pretty dangerous mobs down here. So be careful. As you can see, the jungle mobs, some of the jungle mobs are in here. They are dangerous. Unlike their poison counterparts, they don't do poison. They do trap you in. They do trap you in with their little fancy things. And they can summon their little taunter. So best to avoid. So moving on to tip number. Alright, here's my other tip. When it comes to co-op. Yes, you can play co-op with Hidden Depths. If you have a couple of buddies you want to play Hidden Depths with, there are ways to give your friends oxygen. If you have played Minecraft before, you will know that there's an item called a conduit. Now, you can find these conduits as you progress through your missions. You can find them on these type of pillars. Now, these pillars are which continues the mission. You can stand in them, get some oxygen. Now, the first mission you will encounter this, they will give you a little wave of mobs. You just gotta survive. You don't exactly have to kill the mobs. You just need to survive for the period to grab the item. But otherwise, to progress the mission, you obviously have to kill the mobs. But to get the item, you don't really have to kill the mobs. Also, another tip. You cannot carry a trident and a conduit at the same time. So do keep that in mind. Yeah, trident is just like TNT. It just literally is. It's just a faster projectile that works underwater. It's basically the replacement TNT for the underwater. Now, you can pick up the conduit now. Sadly, I forgot to mention this. The conduit does take over your range slot. So, if you are a ranger, make sure if you do pick it up, throw it down when you start shooting. You don't want to accidentally throw this thing so far that you don't know where it is. This is a valuable item that is used to unlock some of the later on in the dungeon. But if you are playing co-op, this is a perfect item to pick up. Be sure to pick it up. It will help you and your buddies survive. So if you are like a tank that's always surviving and taking hits, this will be your item. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys what type of items, what type of armor should you wear when you're underwater. Alright, now the type of armor you can pick to wear, there's quite an interesting variety of you. You can always wear the classical Splendid Robe if you haven't unlocked any other particular DLCs or haven't done any particular DLCs. You can wear this armor. Splendid armor is pretty good excellent armor. I got some god rolls on this. I always got some reduced roll and stuff. But the best shots for I can tell you for this armor is going to be obviously protection, soul focus, so you can basically get that little extra damage in with your artifacts. But otherwise, you could rock with any third John if you want. Obviously, you can rock Cowardize if you don't take damage as you're a ranger. But if you're a warrior, I guess you can rock Snowball. But otherwise, the other type of armor you can wear, like you see me wear now in the tutorial, which is the rugged climbing gear. This will help you with the drowning situation. Drowning is environmental damage. You take tick of environmental damage. So this armor will grant you some form of resistance against drowning. I know the logic doesn't really make sense since this is not a scuba suit, but either way, you can use this item to help you survive the underwater. So in case if you're having trouble surviving underwater and you can't really get to the oxygen in time, this armor will help. Now, what enchant should you rock with this? I would say rock Arrow Bat, protection, and lightning focus if you're using lightning type of weapon, but you can rock anything else. You can always rock, let's see if I can find a good example to rock with. You can rock Thorns, or you can rock Cowardize, or you can rock Chilling. Either way, this armor is good for using during your time when you're underwater. Another weapon that you could use if you have done, you know, the High Mountain DLC, you can use the Resolve Tempest Knife. It gives you that speed burst, so it helps you move around underwater a little bit easier as like you slaughtering through the monsters. Another weapon that could be in theory good to grab could be a Curse Axe and some Fighter's Bindings. I know there's a Fighter's Bindings is a meme. I know it's been a meme around the Minecraft Dungeons community, but hey, either way, they are good weapons with some lifesteal on them. Also, you can also wear Take a Leeching Armor if you want, if you're struggling to survive under here through, like, you know, mobs damage. But otherwise, you can wear this armor. Now, what artifacts could you also wear in this scenario? You could wear Totem of Regeneration. This does come in handy. There's not really a lot of healing items to drop down here. The only really healing item you get in here is fish. That's really all healing items. There's no, like, apples or bread or that sort of stuff that drops here. It's basically just fish. So it's a good idea to pick up a Totem of Regeneration. And a Totem of Shielding. This is gonna great to help you against those skeletons. I call skeletons. But either way, it's skeletons and during those Trident zombies. Trident zombies hurt. They do. They do hurt a lot, especially in Apocalypse difficulty. So it's great to have like a Totem of Shielding. Another good item could be good to carry with you is a Burst of Swiftness. Since you do move a little bit slower underwater, this could be a great item to have to help you move pretty calmly underwater. Another good item to carry would be a Power Shaker. If you have done the Never DLC, you can pick this up. This helps you take care of the crowded mobs, since underwater mobs do get crowdy. Beezy Nest could be great to pick up, especially for the boss. I'll cover the boss in another video, but otherwise this could be a great item to pick up to help you control the flow of the mobs. If you have done the Mountain DLC, this could also be a good item to pick up. The Fire Enchant still works underwater. Don't ask me how. It still works. The Ice Enchant also could help you deal with those pesky range mobs. Again, range weapons don't really work so well underwater unless you have a Harpoon Quiver. This is the item I mentioned earlier for the arrows mechanics. But otherwise, you can use this, to help you survive underwater as a ranger. I know there's a lot of cooldown on some of the artifacts. There's 30% cooldown, but I guess a good old infinity helps you. Let's see, what else have I not covered? Struck powder could be good if you're stuck in a bunch of mobs. Oh yes, a death cap mushroom will help you also dealing with some of the more tanky mobs. It will help you attack faster so you can move quicker with Tempest Resolve. Pretty much I think I covered. Oh yeah, you can also pick up the Ghost Rogue for a little bit more speed. If you're having trouble getting through some of the mobs, getting out of sticky situations, this could also be a good thing to pick up since underwater is a little tricky to escape, and the dodge roll does slow you down when you not correctly roll. But otherwise, yeah. Alright, so either way. Alright guys, just to quickly clarify to you guys where the Harpoon Arrows drop from. They do drop from the first level. If you don't get lucky and you don't get them on your first drop, just do the first level again. And then you will get your drop. But either way, the first, basic, your quiver drops from the Coral Rise area. They do drop also from Abyssal Monument if you want to skip ahead and go to the Abyssal Monument area. But they do drop in both areas. They do also drop in... They don't... Actually, I'm corrected. They don't drop in the secret area, but they do drop in the first two zones. So if you need your pair of Harpoon Arrows, they do drop in this, first zone. So keep that in mind. But otherwise, guys... Oh yeah, another tip I forgot to mention. Do be careful when you're wandering around here. There are these gravel blocks that tend to fall in sometimes. If you are not careful, they do fall. I can't really find a perfect example, but there are these blocks that fall in. So do be careful. They do appear in the dungeon a lot. So be careful. Also be careful not to go too close to the sides. The mobs can knock you off and then you can take a lot of damage. Also be careful when you're speeding through the level. You can fall off the edges. The edges are not exactly safe if you're going too fast. You will basically fly off the map. So be careful with that. Alright guys, here's another tip. Be careful when you're fighting Guardians, especially when you're early game. Obviously, I'm not taking a lot of damage because I'm playing on the lower difficulty. But be careful for Guardians. Like in the normal base game, Guardians have their casual water laser beam they shoot from their eye. Now, it takes a bit of time to charge up, so there is a bit of time to dodge or charge to attack them, but do be careful. This laser beam may not look like it does a lot of damage, but it can do a lot of damage as you progress through the story as you get into Apocalypse. So be careful for these guys. They do come in their classical variants. There's obviously their normal variants. As you can see, the beam's kind of slow too. But yeah, they do come in their classical variants. This is basically one of the bosses that occur. I'm not too sure if they have the thorns thing, but don't quote me on this. I think they might. But do be careful. These guys do have their own classical melee attacks, so they do attack by melee. Also, the conduit does not really affect them. So even if you're trying to drown them, they're not going to be affected by the conduit. Otherwise, do be careful. The Guardians are dangerous. They do have their laser attack, and then they have their own classical melee attack. But as you can see, the laser is relatively slow. And they do stop shooting their laser as soon as you get close to them. But otherwise, do be careful. You do get the Guardians. So do be careful for them. They do a lot of damage. They do spawn in their 3 variants. Their normal variant, their Elder Guardian variant, and then the boss, which I will, again, cover on another video. But otherwise, guys, this is practically the end of the first mission. You have successfully survived your very first mission. And I hope to see you at the boss area in probably the next video. But otherwise, guys, happy swimming. Also, happy hunting.
A mysterious monument shrouded in the